Hi, everybody. It's Monday, February 26th, 2024. It's another episode of Dr. Kenton Wakes Up. I'm Dr. Kenton. It's brisk outside, bright and sunny, brisk. I don't know, it's probably 29 degrees. I'm not going to look it up, but it's cold enough that there's some frost, so I'm going to say 29 degrees. So today, the message of today, you know that this channel has a Monday through Friday episode, at least so far, and then it has a weekend episode, which doesn't allow me to bring too much in that happened over the weekend. But I wanted to talk about one particular thing that happened and how it sort of meshes in with the whole experience that I had as a graduate student. Today, this is a new coffee that I found. I need to get the name right. It's Seattle's Best. That's the manufacturer, and a very imaginative title, Breakfast Blend. And usually, it's a medium roast, but it calls itself smooth roasted. I don't know what that means. Anyway, today on my walk, it struck me that the thing that the Stoic philosophers were after was not an appearance of not letting things bother them, but an actual lack of concern for things that don't pertain to them. So, for example, let's say you're part of a working group, 3, 4 people, and it appears that one of the people hasn't done anything. Now, in my experience, both on the assignment side and as the assignee, sometimes people take umbrage at the fact that one person's getting a free ride and the others are presumably going along. And that might concern that person. It might lead that person to say, for example, write an email to the instructor and try to explain that, here's the stuff that I did. Here's the stuff that person one did. And here's what the person who did nothing should have done, these components, and didn't. And furthermore, I don't want person who didn't do anything's non-contribution to count against me. Now, what I would say, only for partial humorous effect, that the person who sent the email is probably not a Stoic philosopher, because a Stoic who's really reached the pinnacle would not only probably would note that a person hadn't done anything, but wouldn't put a quantitative or qualitative judgment on it. Just like saying that grass is green. Or perhaps that grass is more green than my own. But it doesn't arouse any kind of physical sequelae, consequences. Doesn't want to. So anyway, to get right into the actual example, I'm grading some longer form responses to a prompt to choose two theory bases, choose two distinct types of approaches toward learning with technology, describe each of them individually, then compare and contrast, and write an overall summary. These papers that were chosen as highlights or um, I don't know, they're exemplars. They're not super long. Um, but anyway, as it happens, one of them was written by guys that I personally know. I didn't know them when they wrote the article, but eventually they were faculty members at the same institution where I earned my doctorate. I took classes, more than one class from each of them. One of them even was on my doctoral committee. So I also really, really, really like the article they wrote and the theory they're subscribing to. So you can imagine my surprise when, just for round number sake, there were 20 students in this class. Let's say that 19 of those people accurately summarized what was in the paper, and one told me not only a story that was full of factual inaccuracies, but it was as if it was written from a parallel dimension. I learned that these two fellows that I had worked with and you know, in the way that I described, took classes from, engaged one on one of my committees to earn my doctorate. To learn that that person's name was no longer Pete, but instead Kimberly, that was a surprise. And the other guy, who's a little bit older, he was on the retirement end of the spectrum when I was there at um, my other institution, and was interested to find out that his name was no longer Rex, but instead was Tina. Okay, so as luck would have it, and as the power of hallway conversations, I've tried over the last couple of years to distill my thoughts in some sort of quantitative way about the value of hallway conversations. But you know, what is more or less a hallway conversation? A peer, an exact contemporary, started in the same cohort of junior faculty members in the same year that I started, and we've